Hello and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News on this Friday, October 10th. I'm Grant Olson. Here's some of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. Washington's Department of Agriculture says a large commercial poultry facility in Moses Lake has become the latest site for a bird flu outbreak. The state of Washington and the Catholic Church say they've settled a lawsuit over the clergy's responsibility to report abuse or harm to a child. Weather changes are coming our way beginning tomorrow through Monday with rain, cooler temperatures, and yes, mountain snow. Your full local weather forecast is straight ahead. After more than a month of stress for homeowners around the Lower Sugarloaf Fire, all evacuation alerts around that nearly 43,000-acre wildfire have been lifted. That's the word just before noon today from Chelan County Emergency Management, which dropped all evacuation notices that had been in effect for Birch Mountain, the Eniat Valley, and the Canyon Roads north of Highway 2. Northwest Incident Team 10 says the fire, which started with a September 1st lightning strike, is now 90% contained, and some of the 1,000 or so personnel are being relieved or reassigned to other fires. The work isn't over yet, and fire hazards are still keeping many roads and trails closed to public access. Over on the Labor Mountain Fire west of Wenatchee, dragon eggs are more than just plot devices for a fantasy novel. They're also the brand name for ignition devices used this week to set controlled burns and build containment lines on the 41,000-acre fire, which is only 20% contained with evacuation still in effect. Firefighters in this video from Northwest Team 12 explain how a combination of dragon eggs and aerial drones help them steer the blaze away from Mission Ridge while keeping human personnel safe on the fire line.
So the fire was up on this ridge, the Red Hill Trail system. It's kind of been just backing down. It's a really nice, healthy fire with minimal, intensity. So it came down to the Devil's Gulch Trail, and we had crews come out and we brought it down to the trail. We set up some sprinklers, caught it down here. So that locks it in from coming out towards some of the structures we have to the east. And then along here, the fire is just backing down. It's a really nice burn, and instead of lighting off the bottom and burning all the trees out, what we're doing is using some drone aerial ignitions to throw some we call them ping pong balls, but we drop them down here and they light, even it up, and bring it down really nice with some low intensity fire that's really healthy for the forest. And eventually we'll bring it down to the Mission Creek Road and have all this locked in. These are the PSD. They've got potassium permanganate inside, and they react with the glycol.
Echo, unmanned Romeo 3-2, air-to-ground primary. Requesting clearance to fly a PSD mission, southeast corner, section 12, northwest corner, section 18, same vitals. Operating time 6 minutes.
Roger, do Helco on scene, and that's, you're out of DP226 again?
Yeah, apologies. Division Juliet, drop point 226.
Altimeter 2976.
Keep it mid-slope and have a nice backing fire for as long as we can before the rain comes.
Generally the same.
Washington's Department of Agriculture says a large commercial poultry facility in Moses Lake has become the latest site for a bird flu outbreak. The H5N1 avian influenza is highly transmissible and can devastate bird flocks. The initial reports of sick birds at the Moses Lake facility came in on Tuesday, and the state announced today that subsequent tests confirmed the presence of the virus. The site is home to more than 1,000 birds. birds. Washington State veterinarian Dr. Amber Idle says owners of chicken flocks and other fowl can protect their animals in part by keeping them under cover and away from wild waterfowl, which are known to spread the flu through droppings. Humans can also become infected by close contact with sick or dead birds. It's the first detection of H5N1 in Grant County. Other cases have been reported this year in Mason and Franklin counties. A 77-year-old motorist from Newport died Thursday after running a stop sign at an Interstate 90 exit east of Moses Lake. The Washington State Patrol says Joseph L. Rammel was killed when the 2020 Volkswagen Passat he was driving traveled through the stop sign after leaving the westbound interstate at exit 182. His car was struck broadside by a Freightliner semi that was northbound on Grant County Road O Northeast. Troopers say the semi was carrying a shipment of dry fertilizer which spilled across the roadway. The Road O exit was closed for several hours for towing and cleanup. The precise cause of the accident is under investigation. When we come back, the city of Wenatchee will mark Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday with the dedication of Pisquosa Plaza. That's the new artistic centerpiece of Memorial Park. 3 Grant County men are jailed on suspicion of drug crimes after a Moses Lake investigation netted about 25 pounds of illegal drugs. And the state of Washington and the Catholic Church say they've settled a lawsuit over the clergy's responsibility to report abuse or harm to a child. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
You won't be voting for Congress or the presidency this year, but local elections are the place where your voice can make the most difference. Wenatchee Valley candidates are lining up to serve on city councils and school boards on both sides of the Columbia River. NCWLIFE put all of them in the hot seat so you can find the ones who represent you the best. Watch our interviews at these times and dates right here on our channel, or anytime online at ncwlife.com. You're watching the NCWLIFE channel. Your vote matters to us.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or a relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa. Be sure to stop by this month and ask about a hot spring spa rebate. Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
The city of Wenatchee will mark Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday with a dedication of Pisquosa Plaza, the new artistic centerpiece of Memorial Park. The new sculpture garden features the larger-than-life representation of Chief John Harmelt, the last hereditary leader of the Pisquosa Wenatchee Indians, for whom the valley is named. Oregon artist Judd Turner built that sculpture. The plaza also features commemorative work by fellow sculptors Kevin Patel and Swede Albert. Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services Director Dave Erickson says the new plaza has been 10 years in the making from planning to completion. The formal dedication takes place at Memorial Park Monday evening at 5 p.m. 3 Grant County men are jailed on suspicion of drug crimes after a Moses Lake investigation netted about 25 pounds of illegal drugs. The Moses Lake Police Department says Teodoro Gonzalez, Luis Estrada Mendez, and Jose Chavez Soriano all face charges of drug possession with intent to deliver. The Moses Lake Police Street Crimes Unit teamed with agencies including the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms on that 5-month investigation investigation. The 3 men were arrested Thursday, and authorities say the operation recovered about 23 pounds of methamphetamine, 2 pounds of fentanyl, and an ounce of cocaine. Federal prosecutors are considering whether to pursue additional charges in U.S. District Court. The state of Washington and the Catholic Church say they've settled a lawsuit over the clergy's responsibility to report abuse or harm to a child. Senate Bill 5375, passed in May, designates ministers of all faiths in the state of Washington as mandatory reporters who must disclose suspicions of child abuse to authorities. The Catholic Church in Washington won an injunction against part of the law in July, arguing that the seal of confession must be respected when a congregant consults privately with a priest. A federal judge ruled forcing a priest to break the seal likely amounted to a violation of religious freedom. In an agreement announced today, Attorney General Nick Brown says while ministers will remain mandatory reporters, state and county prosecutors will not enforce that requirement for information learned solely through the rite of confession. The stipulation still must be approved by the court. Coming up next, Douglas County PUD is set to cut the ribbon earlier this week on their new $27 million hydrogen production plant. More on that in tonight's feature story. We could see our first mountain snow of the season by the end of this weekend. I'll have your local weather details coming up, as well as Eric Granstrom with a look at all the day's sports action as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after these messages.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
When you enjoy Abby's Pizza at your place, close your eyes and you can taste old-fashioned values, classic pizza parlor decor, and generations of tradition. Recreate that magic. Open your eyes and head to abbys.com. With pickup and delivery options, no matter where you dine, Abby's just tastes better. Here's a good-looking pizza, guaranteed to bring some smiles. And right now, it's on sale, so it's good for your wallet too. This giant is loaded with toppings and can feed up to 6 people. Order at abbys.com. Give us a call or just drop by. Only at Abby's Legendary Pizza.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Well, there was no better time than National Hydrogen Day in the middle of Public Power Week for the Douglas County PUD to cut the ribbon on a project years in the making. In a room of about 90 attendees, the PUD opened its $27 million hydrogen production plant on Wednesday. The approximately 80 by 136-foot facility sits in the industrial Baker Flats area outside East Wenatchee at what's now called 190 Hydrogen Way. With it, Douglas PUD can produce hydrogen fuel for consumer and industrial purposes. In tonight's feature story, NCWLIFE News spoke with General Manager Gary Ivory at the facility's opening.
This is kind of like a Christmas dream or something, you know, being here, being able to commission the plant and bring it into operation, have a ribbon cutting that has been a successful process. So yeah, it's a dream to have it online. The biggest interest for us was to preserve the hydropower benefits of Douglas County PUD, to protect and preserve our dam. The second benefit is obviously going to be to benefit our customers because they own and they control what we do. So we're trying to benefit our local customers and we're trying to preserve the assets that we have so that future generations of electric customers have access to that really low cost, inexpensive power. So we take water and we put it in a device called an electrolyzer. It's a proton exchange membrane. We have a positive side that we put electricity to and a negative side. And the hydrogen actually passes through the membrane, and that oxygen and hydrogen molecules are split apart and attracted to the different sides of that membrane. The oxygen stays on one side of the membrane, and the hydrogen stays on the other side of the membrane. We're making the financial decisions on some of that right now, whether we want to start to develop the next phases of the production capacity here. We would like to have some secure offtake of that hydrogen guaranteed before we start to continue to invest, but we're seeing a strong demand for the hydrogen in the region, so it's likely that we'll start moving forward. So I mentioned that transit agencies on the west side have purchased buses already. So fuel cell buses are already on the road in Washington. They need the fuel to fuel those buses. That's a pretty substantial demand. There are industrial gas suppliers that are already bringing hydrogen to places like Amazon warehouses where they have hydrogen-powered forklifts. There are industrial processes, like I mentioned before. Intel uses a lot of hydrogen. So metal coatings companies, gasoline purification processes use hydrogen. So there's a lot of industrial uses for hydrogen in addition to the fueling aspect of it to fuel vehicles. If we get it up and operational, that will be success. If we're able to sell the hydrogen in a market, that will be success. I think those two big things are what we're focused on now, being able to produce it reliably and also meet the demand for hydrogen in the region.
Time now for a check of your north central Washington weather forecast. Hope you ended this week on a high note. Weather-wise, once again, a lot of haze and smoke around the Wenatchee Valley. This is what it looked like outside our weather window this afternoon, and that's from our Wenatchee Heights tower camera, and you can still see a lot of that low-hanging smoke. We were in pretty much the unhealthy category throughout the afternoon and morning in Wenatchee. The weather, the air conditions rather, get a little bit better as you go into the upper valley, Cashmere, and into Leavenworth. Moderate to even good air, and moderate to good as well over in the Columbia Basin. So it all seems to be situated right here in the Wenatchee Valley. But that should all change as we get into the upcoming weekend. We have rain and cooler temperatures Saturday, and then as we get into late Sunday and early Monday, that's right, snow in our forecast. We're talking snow levels 35 to 4,500 feet. Keep in mind, Snoqualmie Pass about 3,200 feet, but temperatures will be chilly enough, that's for sure. Upper 20s to lower 30s overnight Sunday into Monday. And getting a little more specific, where we could see some kind of slick driving conditions, we're talking Loop Loop Pass. That's the pass between Omak over into Twisp, as well as Stevens Pass. We could see some accumulated snow and ice on Highway 2, so be careful if you are traveling in that Sunday night into Monday morning period. Boy, it's hard to believe we're talking about snow. 74 unofficially our high temperature today. Maybe the last day that we see 70s until probably next spring. 64 is our normal high for this time of year. 80 degrees our record high, and that was set in 1988. We're at 52 this morning, another warm one. 43 is our normal low for this time of year. Check out this record low. 27 degrees set back in 2019. Sunrise 7:13 this morning, and it sets this evening at 6:22. All right, getting you into the upcoming weekend. Pretty big cool down, that's for sure. 61s all over our map in the Columbia Basin. Moses Lake, Ephrata, Quincy, we'll see around 61. That goes for Wenatchee into Aniat, Chelan, and up into Omak. And then just slightly cooler for Leavenworth and Cashmere tomorrow with a high temperature of 60 degrees. But remember, that's about a 10 to 15 degree cool down as we get into the weekend. Tonight, here's that little trough of low pressure setting up off the coast of Washington. It'll bring in kind of a northwest breeze to us tonight. We'll see some clouds out there with low temperatures tonight, mainly into the mid 40s. And then as we kick off our weekend, mostly cloudy skies, just a little bit of a cold front that will slide through. Most of the rain Saturday, though, on the west side, a 40% chance we will see some. Cooler with high temperatures right around 60 degrees to kick off the weekend. And then by Sunday, it gets wet out there, folks. Here's the area of low pressure. Look at that cloud deck across eastern Washington, and there you have it, an 80% chance for rain and snow in the Cascades on Sunday. Cooler, high temperatures, only mid-50s on Sunday. For your Monday, that area of low pressure slides a little bit to the south, but it's going to drag some lingering showers with it. Morning showers on Monday, giving way to mostly sunny skies by afternoon. Only low 50s for high temperatures on Monday, and then things get better as we get into Tuesday. High pressure begins to move in to the western United States. We'll see sunshine and warmer temperatures Tuesday with afternoon readings into those low 60s. For your Wednesday and midweek next week, we're going to stay with just crystal clear skies around Washington State. Sunshine, how about that? Mid-60s for next Wednesday, exactly where we should be for this time of year. And then for Thursday, by the end of our forecast, our weather stays nice. Sunshine out there. Pretty strong northwesterly flow will be coming into Washington. High temperatures on Thursday will stay nice into the mid-60s. All right, here's your 7-day forecast. 46 overnight tonight, and then kind of a 3-day rainy period with much cooler temperatures. 40% chance of rain tomorrow and 61. That goes up to an 80% chance of rain, and look at that, 54 is all for a high. Goes down to 52 for a high on Monday with a low of 38 overnight Monday. And then our weather gets nicer for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with lots of sunshine and high temperatures generally in the mid-60s. And that's a look at your 7-day forecast brought to you by Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, where comfort, care, and community come together. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCWLIFE, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
You won't be voting for Congress or the presidency this year, but local elections are the place where your voice can make the most difference. Wenatchee Valley candidates are lining up to serve on city councils and school boards on both sides of the Columbia River. NCWLIFE put all of them in the hot seat so you can find the ones who represent you the best. Watch our interviews at these times and dates right here on our channel or anytime online at ncwlife.com. You're watching the NCWLIFE channel. Your vote matters to us.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel. And a happy Finally Friday to you. It's do or die time for the Seattle Mariners. Game 5 of the American League Division Series tonight at T-Mobile Park between Seattle and Detroit. Tigers have Tariq Skubal and the Mariners going with George Kirby. That game underway right now on Fox. Dodgers back in the National League Championship Series after walking off against Philly and the bottom of the 11th on an error on Philadelphia's pitcher. Ouch. Chicago even its series with the Brewers with a 6-0 win at Wrigley Field. A decisive Game 5 will be tomorrow in Milwaukee at 5:08 in the afternoon on TBS. Washington Huskies will have a national TV audience for football tonight on the Montlake Cut. Washington plays host to Rutgers at 6 o'clock on FS1. Washington State gets back to it. After a bye week, they'll be on the road at Ole Miss tomorrow morning at 9:45 on the SEC Network. Central Washington is in Texas to face University of Texas Permian Basin. That's tomorrow at 4. Eastern Washington has a bye. Seahawks are trying to bounce back after a last-second loss at home to Tampa Bay. They'll be in Florida Sunday as they kick kickoff at 10 a.m. in Jacksonville. That'll be on Fox. Rams face a tall task on the road at Baltimore Sunday at 10, also on Fox. Arizona is at Indianapolis to face the upstart Colts at 10. San Francisco kicks off at Tampa Bay, 1:25 in the afternoon. That'll be on CBS. Seattle Kraken kicked off their 5th season in NHL play last night at Climate Pledge Arena against Anaheim. Vince Dunn started the scoring while Jared McCann finished it in a 3-1 victory. Seattle's back on home ice tomorrow night against the Vegas Golden Knights at 7 o'clock on Kong TV. The Wenatchee Wild have a road game and a home game coming up this weekend. Western Hockey League play. They'll be in Spokane to take on the Chiefs tonight at 7:05. They'll return home on Sunday for a 4 o'clock matinee against the Seattle T-Birds. Listen to our friend Austin Drade on the call on 560 KPQ. We'll have South Central Athletic Conference football on NCWLIFE channel tonight. Cashmere celebrating homecoming tonight against Zilla at Bulldog Stadium. Coach Brian Bremer says he's got a beat-up club after falling to Royal last week in overtime, and will face a tough 4-1 Zilla team tonight.
Really good football team. Love their coach. Coach Watson does a really good job. They play really hard. They play a blue-collar brand of football, very similar to us. But they have a young nucleus where their quarterback's a sophomore, running back's a sophomore. Both guys are very, very good players. They have a couple good offensive defensive linemen and a couple of receivers that can go, but a younger nucleus, whereas we are junior, senior heavy. We do have a couple of guys that are banged up that probably aren't going to see any action. So we have some younger guys that are going to be able to step up, that are going to get battle tested, which is good. We have a lot of faith in those younger guys that are going to get some reps, especially in the defensive backfield that are going to, we're going to start 3 sophomores back there. I'll be alongside Grant Olson with a call with the pregame starting at 6:30 here on the NCWLIFE channel. Royal remain undefeated with a 50-3 win over Prosser last night. Kai B is at Connell, while Wapato hosts Natchez Valley. Wallet visits College Place tomorrow night. If the air quality holds, Wenatchee will play their first football game at home tonight against West Valley. Coach Taylor Mitchell is confident after his team's showing against Eastmont last week.
Really good running back. I think he was first team All-League last year, so got injured earlier this year. They're big up front, but I think we just got to continue to do what we're doing on both sides of the ball. I think offensively, run the ball, get the ball to our playmakers out on the edge, and then our defense continues to play well also. So I expect it to be a competitive game, but no reason why we can't, beat these guys. Eastmont, meanwhile, is on the road at winless Eisenhower tonight. In fact, the Cadets have scored just 7 points all season long. Wildcat coach Jay Foster has warned his players about looking past Ike.
This reminds us of a trap game, what everybody talks about a trap game, where you're supposed to take care of business, but you've got a tough opponent, so sometimes you have a tendency to look ahead. I said it's easy, because we all can sit there and say, okay, Alabama looked ahead to Auburn and got upset here, whatever it may be, and so trying to get guys to understand where we are and what this potentially could be. They've got a couple of players that can make some things happen. They haven't been very good. There's no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but at the same time, they've done a couple of things, and they got a couple of guys who can make some things happen. And so just making the guys aware and showing them that what they can do positively, and that we've got to go out and do what we got to do. Moses Lake has a non-league game at Post Falls tonight, while Davis visits Sunnyside. CWAC play tonight. Quincy's on the road at Ellensburg, while Ephrata visits Othello. Toppenish hosts East Valley, while Sela's at Grandview. Cascade is home tonight to host Brewster. Liberty Bell visits Omak. Manson hosts Chelan in a battle of the lake. Okanagan had no trouble with Tonasket last night, winning 62-0 tonight. Oroville visits Moses Lake Christian. Pateros plays at Bridgeport. Lake Roosevelt is at Jenkins Chewelah. Aniat hosts Soap Lake. Waterville Mansfield is at home tomorrow at 1 o'clock against LaConner. Well, checking the prep girls soccer scoreboard from Thursday, East Valley shut out Quincy 7-0. Toppenish Shed Cascade 3-2. Cashmere doubled up Royal 4-2. Brewster beat Omak 3-2. Pateros popped Bridgeport 5-1. Lake Roosevelt edged Manson 2-1. Saturday's schedule begins at 11 a.m. with Chelan at Manson and Tonasket at Oroville. Ephrata kicks off at East Valley at noon, while Quincy visits Othello.
Wenatchee plays at Davis tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, while Eastmont visits Eisenhower, and Moses Lake plays at Sunnyside. Cashmere was supposed to be home against Wapato, but that game, because of the smoke, has been postponed to next Saturday. Winners on the volleyball courts last night, including Moses Lake, Wenatchee, Eisenhower over Eastmont on a 5-set thriller. Also winning were East Valley, Ellensburg, Cashmere, Omak, Liberty Bell, Tonasket, Manson, Moses Lake Christian, Soap Lake, Pateras, and Ediata. Light schedule tomorrow has Cashmere hosting Wapato at 12:30. Tonasket travels to Liberty Bell at 1. Waterville Mansfield will host Brewster at 4:30. That's Checkin' Sports News. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a great weekend.
And that will do it for this Friday edition of the NCWLIFE Evening News. Remember, if you see news happening, let us know. Email your news tips to news@ncwlife.com or just give us a call at 888-6295. Our channel is also now available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and have a great weekend.